Guys, Cal the Giant back with another Arc Raiders video, and in today's video we are going to be covering the new patch that just dropped yesterday. Apologize, I'm a little behind on getting it out to you guys. Just had a lot of things happening that took me away from the home all day, but I'm back, and let's go ahead and let's jump right into this. I'll be making you guys a weapon tier list video. It should be dropping later today or tomorrow. I wanted to wait till after they drop an official nerf to some of the weapons in the game and hopefully seeing some buffs, but I think I've waited long enough. They haven't buffed certain weapons I want to see, and they just nerfed the Venator, so I think now is a great time to make you a current tier list video. But let's jump into this. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Over 90% of you guys are not subscribed, and let's go ahead and check out these new changes. So they basically nerfed deadline mines, making them more expensive to purchase from the shop, going from 1800 to 1500. But in the turn, they buffed their sell value to 5,000. So, I mean, that's nice. So I guess you kill people who have them. You can get them for more. The recipe for crafting them got nerfed as well. Three explosive compound instead of two, and two arc circuitry. And then trader deadline stock from 3 to 1. So now you can only buy one mine a day. So, again, that does suck, but it does make sense for how powerful they are. Power cell value, changing it to 240 coins now. We don't really care about that. Launcher ammo did receive a big nerf. It got more expensive and you get less per purchase. So again, not the best. Sell value, they did buff the sell value to 250. So that's nice. And then they also changed the recipe, in my opinion, making it cheaper because it's one arc motion core and two crude explosives. Actually, you know what? That is more expensive. Don't listen to me. Yeah, because the fact that you need motion core instead of metal parts. So again, more nerfs coming to um, explosives. I mean, again, I don't know if it was necessarily needed because with how the game wipes and cycles, I don't want them nerfing stuff fighting the arc too much. Because again, I think the harder they make the game in terms of PvE, the less likely people will be considering to do expeditions. So I hope they watch that carefully. The only real balances we need to make sure we adjust is PvP. PvE, I don't care. Everything, the game is pretty difficult as it is. You don't need to make it more difficult. It's like the right difficulty, in my opinion. I hope they don't go too crazy and making it harder to deal with the arc. Venator, here we go. The big changes. Essentially, in the long run, the fire rate got decreased by a total of 20%, and they also made it heavier to carry to 5 pounds. Again, it's something small in terms of the weight, but it adds up. But the 20% reduced fire rate is huge. I'm telling you guys, when you play, you will feel that 20% reduction, and it does make a difference. I would still consider it a good weapon, but in terms of it being like kind of S tier how it was before, when I make my new video, I'm going to give you a heads up. I'm putting the Venator into A tier now because of that nerf. Because the reason why it was so good was just because of its melting potential, because of how fast you could pull the trigger. This 20% nerf, you are going to feel it. Explosive damage. I'm gonna go ahead and read this to you just so you guys understand what the devs are saying. We noticed that explosives dealt more damage to more parts at once than intended, allowing weapons like Hullcracker to kill larger drones too quickly. We've adjusted explosive damage to make it more consistent across the board, and we've rebalanced damage of the Hullcracker to account for that change. This will require Hullcracker shots to need a bit more precision while still dealing good damage to targeted spots. Rebalance explosive damage against arc for more consistent experience. Explosions on smaller enemies, turrets are largely affected. Explosives on large enemies, bastions will typically deal a bit less damage. So essentially, with the Hull Cracker, I guess since it's a gun, they want you to hit the critical points to maximize the damage. And if you're just hitting the body, essentially with the Hull Cracker, you're not doing full damage. Again, a change that I don't think was necessary. I'm not going to complain about it, but I'm going to complain about it. Like I said, they need to monitor how much they nerf us fighting the arc because I feel like I said the difficulty of them is good. Just maybe some tuning on some of them, like how aggressive the Rocketeer can be and how fast the Rocketeer can fire. I think is a problem. And then honestly, like I'm getting more and more convinced of how strong the shredder is, its damage output. I think with how strong it needs to be a little weaker. The its weak point is the thruster. I'm making a video on that too, but that is something that I think the devs need to look at and double check. Content and bug fixes. Shredder will now detect and move more reliably towards lure grenades. Shredder movement and handling updates. Slightly reduced turn speed, improved braking, stiffer suspension, more consistent reactions to impacts for steadier behavior in combat. Improved shredder navigation to prevent it from getting stuck on corners. So essentially, the shredder, in my opinion, got a buff, This improved stiffness and suspension and more consistent reactions to impacts. This one worries me because if the shredder doesn't get launched across the map when you shoot it in like thruster with a heavy weapon, that's a concern because that was the biggest way to just deal with them and get them off of you. They have some fixes to some of the maps. Nothing too crazy here. I'm not gonna waste your time and read this if you really care about these collisions and fixes. Go for it. Um, and it says your radar den has been ducked out. Okay, I guess they changed it. That's nice. Movement. Improved enemy ground detection to better handle steep surfaces, reducing erratic movement when traversing angle terrain. This is great. This is something I think we've all complained about trying to climb up a wall and it just your character just acts dumb and doesn't know how to climb all of a sudden. So that's a great change. Very happy to see that. Weapons. I'm gonna pronounce that. Hopefully it's Aphelion. Fix an issue where Aphelion tracers could become excessively bright at distance, reducing visibility for players being shot at. Increased drop rate of the blueprint. That's awesome. That's great to see. Like I said, I do think blueprints in the game need to be higher. I'll be making a video on what I think Arc Raiders needs to improve on. And it's not necessarily hate video, it's just more of things that I've noticed, like quality of life and things like that. And also getting people to engage with expeditions and things like that. They need to make the game um, not so grindy that people are more willing to want to reset. So that's a video coming out. I'll be telling you guys my opinion on that. Stitcher corrected player facing stats for the Stitcher, showing incorrect scaling of reload time across upgrade levels. Again, just a little UI fix for the Stitcher. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully, it wasn't too long. Please go down in the comments down below and tell me what you're excited for and tell me what you think of some of these changes, especially Venator, if that was one of your top weapons in the game. And I will see y'all in the next Arc Raiders video.